All right, still on the developments in KwaZulu-Natal, let's speak now to the ANC's KwaZulu-Natal Task Team Convenor Jeff Rabebe. Very good evening to you, Mr. Radebe, and thank you so much for your time. Your impressions on what took place in the legislature today?
Well, thanks, Bongi, for inviting me. It was so embarrassing to see members of the Provincial Legislature trying to force their way in what they had wanted to do. I was telling some people that they laid the bed, but they didn't want to lie on it. They are the ones who moved this motion of no confidence against the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal. But from all observation, they didn't want the vote to go ahead precisely because they know that they don't have numbers. As the saying goes, numbers don't lie. But it was a great disappointment. In the past 31 years, it's the first time that I saw a behavior like this that was depicted by the members of the MKP in KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Legislature. But happily, what they wanted to achieve did not succeed because they failed to get the requisite majority to move the motion of no confidence.
I just had a conversation with two analysts who actually say that for them, had the Speaker allowed this, motion to be held through the voting, rather to be through a secret ballot, things may have been different because they do think that the EFF, for example, would have known that there are members of the ANC who would have potentially voted in support of this particular motion, and maybe the Speaker may not have wanted to allow that because she possibly was wondering politically if you are in a safe position or you're not.
No, we're in a very safe position as members of the government of provincial unity, and I believe that the Speaker exercised her constitutional legal powers empowered by the regulations of the House to decide the manner that she did. In fact, it's not the first time that a Speaker of any legislature has taken such a decision. But as I've said, we come back to the original question. They don't have the numbers. For an example, I'm the convener of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal at the moment, but none of the leaders of the MKP even bothered to contact us to motivate why they wanted to take this position. I've consulted as well with the leader of government business, the MEC of KwaZulu-Natal, Sboniso. None of them ever approached the ANC. So it was very foolhardy of them to think that those 14 members of the ANC in the legislature could have voted for them. We had a meeting of the caucus this morning. 14 of them, they told me in no uncertain terms that they're not supportive of this motion of no confidence.
It's one thing for them to speak in public and to assure you that this is what they would do, but we've seen in other municipalities, in other provincial legislatures, the picture becoming different. For example, in some municipalities where people would be voting with the opposition, for example. So are you saying that even if it had gone to a secret vote, you are confident that nothing would have changed? You still would have had this particular result?
Nothing would have changed. Let's take for an example. They had the majority of votes last year compared to other political parties. They had 45%. I have investigated with all my colleagues in KwaZulu-Natal. They never initiated a meeting with the ANC to try to form a government of provincial unity. So 1 year later, same story. But what was more disturbing for me is the behavior that they demonstrated there in front of their leadership. Their president was there, deputy president, the chairperson, the secretary general, head of policy, the KwaZulu-Natal leader of the MKP, all of them, they were there. They did not intervene in the chaos that involved there, even threatening members of the provincial legislature, including the Speaker, who performed extremely well. It was very clear that she's an experienced chairperson as a speaker. She knows the law, she knows the case law, she knows the rules of the provincial legislature.
You do have concerns, as we heard from the Premier, saying that he's worried about what, all of this might mean on the ground, because there may be tensions right now playing out in the legislature, but they may seemingly, filter through to people on the ground, members on the ground, supporters on the ground. How concerned are you about that?
We're very concerned. So if members of the provincial legislature behave like that, what lessons are they teaching their supporters? We come from a very difficult province, which was ravaged with violence amongst. I was there during the height of violence in KwaZulu-Natal. For them to harp up these emotions was totally unbecoming of them.
Appreciate your time. ANC KwaZulu-Natal Task Team Convenor Jeff Rabebe.